What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I'm going to be breaking down what's going on with the overall market, what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to be answering the question, can Tesla explode again? What is going on with the share price, and how could the Cybertruck event affect Tesla as well? Will Tesla see more upside approaching the event, or is Tesla about to get a rug pull? I'm also going to be talking about what's happening to the market thus far, and then break down some other pieces of data. But before I do anything like this, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. So, anyways, let's talk about Tesla. Let's talk about the market. What's going on? Tesla was up 4.5% for the day. In my video from the morning, I told you all that I think Tesla's going to get a breakout if we break 238. And Tesla ended up doing so. I told you to watch 242. In my afternoon video, I told you that Tesla was looking bullish since we were already at 242. And I said if we keep going, watch 245. If we get above that, watch 247. That is just under, or I'm sorry, that's just over where Tesla ended up closing for today. And during the after hours, Tesla ended up breaking that. So it's still looking bullish. There's no sign of it slowing down. And I don't think that Tesla's done just yet. I think that there could be more upside approaching the Cybertruck event, which is going to be on November 30th on Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time. So we'll be watching this very carefully. This could lead to more hype for Tesla. Right now, Tesla looks bullish. It looks like it could push up even more. I think that all the hype and the FOMO is starting to come in approaching the event. However, I want to warn you all that there's a saying that goes, buy the rumors, sell the news. So even if Tesla does pump approaching the event, once the event is over on Thursday, we could see Tesla come back down to earth. And I think there's a very good chance of that potentially happening. Now, with that happening, I just want to call out that there's also some data that correlates with the timing for the whole market. And I think that even if the market holds up for Wednesday and Thursday, things could change on Friday as we have more data coming out. So, as a reminder, for tomorrow, which is going to be Wednesday, okay, we have the GDP numbers coming out. The GDP numbers could cause some volatility 1 hour before the market opens. Then we have the PCE estimates coming out at the same time, but the GDP numbers will be the most important thing for Wednesday. Then we have some Fed speakers, which could affect the markets. Okay, for Thursday, right, this is going to be the same day Tesla has its Cybertruck event. We have initial jobless claims coming out for the markets, PCE data, which in my opinion is going to be decent for the markets, as the last CPIs have been quite decent too. And we also have the Chicago PMI. I think that's Tesla could hold up quite nicely approaching the Cybertruck event and kind of outperform the market through all of this. But then after the event, things could change. Remember, it's going to be November 30th. Okay, Thursday, the last day of November, whether the market holds up or not. In my opinion, I think we have another catalyst for Friday that can completely shift the market. And I think the market's going to pivot by Friday. I think that Friday could be the day that the market starts to turn bearish. I think that this could affect Tesla. So after the Cybertruck event is over on Thursday, we might see Tesla kind of like fall back to earth. And I think that the whole market might follow this trend, looking at the ISM manufacturing PMI report. So generally, when the market has its cycles, right? The market moves in cycles. Some months are very bullish historically, other ones tend to be like more bearish. When the market has its cycles, we tend to shift on the first day of the month when the ISM manufacturing data comes out. And this could be the thing that causes the pivot, not to mention the fact that Jerome Powell is giving a speech at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with Powell's speech and all the manufacturing numbers, this could cause the market to turn, and this could happen as soon as Friday, maybe even a bit earlier, who knows. And I think that if Tesla continues to pump, that's awesome. That's great. But be careful, guys, because Tesla could come right back down maybe after the Cybertruck event on Thursday, if not by Friday, with all the data coming out. So that could shift the market, and then we could see the whole market follow the same trend for starting on Friday. So I just wanted to warn you guys about that. Could the market hold up for a little bit longer? Yes, it can. Tesla could still pump more for the short term, but be very careful for the end of Thursday going into Friday, as we have more data that could shift the markets. Now, for the whole market, I'm just going to be very quick with this part. We have Foot Locker, Dollar Tree, and Salesforce, just a few more for earnings. We have TD Bank, Dell, and just a few more others on Thursday. The market is very greedy. We're getting closer to extreme we're kind of in the middle for now between extreme and neutral. We're getting closer. Then we have more extreme indicators on market momentum. If you look at the put and call positionings on extreme greed, this suggests that the market's in the topping process, which I agree with. Now, could the market pump a bit more? It could. I will be talking about that in just a few minutes, but I still anticipate some downside starting into December, and I think that it may continue for just a couple of weeks before we get an end of the year rally. I'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. For now, when it comes to the Cybertruck, we're starting to see a lot of hype, a lot of excitement. Remember, one of the things I mentioned about the Cybertruck is that fundamentally, when it comes to the financial statements, this is going to be a liability, for Tesla. This is going to be an enormous challenge. It's going to be very expensive, very tricky when starting off, and this is technically not extremely bullish when it comes to the financial side. But when it comes to the hype, the excitement, starting it off with the launch event, it is bullish, and this could still help Tesla pump approaching the launch event. The launch event is going to be on Thursday. We'll be watching this very carefully. It looks very, very interesting in my opinion. I think that there's going to be a lot of buyers coming. Some deliveries will be starting, and it's going to be very exciting. With that being said, and with all of the things going on, should we be concerned? In my opinion, it really depends on the different factors and to see like what kind of issues emerge from it. If there's like some kind of issue with production, things like that, I could be concerned. But right now, I don't really see anything to be like way too concerned about just yet, in terms of what the Cybertruck is kind of giving us. Right now, a new model is coming. We should just be excited. We should just be ready for the event and just enjoy the hype and the rally on Tesla stock while it lasts, because it's not going to last forever, guys. All right, so I'm not too concerned just yet, but I'll be waiting to see if there's any like negative news that comes out if it does happen. But for now, it looks very, very cool. Interesting looking, sleek design. You can also adjust the suspensions, which is really cool too. And it has very, very nice looking features. So it's very durable, very sturdy. It's bulletproof. The glass is not bulletproof. That's actually optional. You could get the glass bulletproof too, but once again, very, very amazing, amazing vehicle. I think a lot of people will be excited about this. I'm very excited to see what comes from this event. There's also some talk coming out about how Tesla's confirming the Model 3 performance. Another good piece of news, and the excitement, the hype, the volume is coming back to Tesla as a result of all this good news. This was actually like announced a long time ago, but it's still making headlines, so I'm still talking about that. Now I just want to mention that with this good news coming out, Jeffries is reiterating to just hold onto your Tesla shares. The price price ratio is going up as Tesla's gaining a lot of relative strength, and Tesla's looking stronger compared to the market relative to before, which is more good in news. And looking at the price comparison, Tesla's holding up and actually pushing better than SPY and the QQQ for now. Wednesdays tend to be green 48% of the time, but it doesn't matter. Tesla could keep going. Watch for volatility during the second to third hour of the day, so around like 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also around like 3 to 4. I'm sorry, 2 to, I think it's 2 to 3. We tend to see more volatility, so watch and see if there's more like upside during those hours. And Tesla still has some very strong financial metrics. Volume is at 148 million. That's good for Tesla. We're seeing hype, we're seeing buyers, and it's looking quite decent overall. Short volume is dropping as we're seeing some shorts closing positions, and this is leading to a small short squeeze. So, what do I see for Tesla? Am I bullish? Am I bearish? The answer is right now, at the time I'm recording this, when you look at the daily chart on Tesla, it looks bullish. It's going to push up more, most likely approaching the event. And this thing is trying to push up above 247. So if we manage to hold above 247 tomorrow, and we managed to break 250, that's going to be our next level. I think it's going to be shooting all the way up to the high 250s pretty fast. So there's going to be potential for Tesla to make its way up to almost 255, this zone of resistance right here. Above that, we have 257 and then 260, which is where we have some tight resistance. We could see quite a bit more upside approaching the event, and it looks strong. There's no sign of it dying. I also want to add that Tesla is currently just under 249, and in the after hours, it's pumping even more. So there's still buyers stepping in, they're still pushing the stock up, and I think there's more potential upside coming. However, I just want to warn you, although Tesla looks bullish and the odds favor the upside, right? I'm not going to be too bullish for too long. Okay. After the event is over, you want to be very careful because Tesla could come right back down once the event is like fully priced in, once the news is out. There's something that could happen like that, and you just want to be very careful. For support, watch 247. If we lose this, watch 245 to 244, 242.5, and then 240. If we break below 240, 238 is where we have tight support. If that's gone, it could sink all the way back down to 235. I don't think Tesla's going to sink all the way down there. I'm just like calling out these levels just to be safe. But look for a little retracement when we kind of like open up. It might just see some like drops here and there so that they can just like grab liquidity before they start pushing it much higher. And let's see if this thing could break 250. If it manages to do so, I think there's not much resistance until we get to like 255. Then we have like 257, 260 coming. I think that Tesla can make quite a bit more moves to the upside as we approach the Cybertruck event. Now, once again, guys, just be careful once the event is out, but I think that there's still more upside potential. When it comes to SPY, I want to call out something very important. So, looking at SPY, we're not necessarily super bearish. We're not necessarily super bullish yet, but I think, just like I said earlier, after Jerome Powell's speech and the ISM manufacturing data comes out for Friday, I think SPY is going to be on its way down. And as of right now, there's no sign of it breaking down quite yet. I think that I think there's going to be downside for the first I would say 1.5 to 2 weeks of December. I think that there's going to be, a very healthy pullback coming. And I haven't really changed my view on that. However, it's still possible for the market to pump a little bit. We could get one more pump. And I personally, I'm just going to be shorting any pops I see. I'm just going to be building a short position if this thing does push a little higher, because right now it's trying to uptrend just a tiny bit, trying to break out of this like flag that we were forming. And I think that whether we get a pop or not, whether it's 455, 456.5, or even 457, they're all very good short entries for the next couple of weeks, because I believe SPY is going to be retracing towards at least 445 at the very least, if not like 440 to fill its gap. It's going to likely retrace, guys, very, very likely over the next 2 weeks. And we may not start retracing until after the ISM data comes out. So for like Fridays when we might start. So it could hold up for a bit, could even push a little higher, but I just see another shorting opportunity. That's how I see it. I don't really believe we're going to be holding up for much longer. All right, that's my view of SPY. Could it pop a little bit more? Yes, it can, but I just see a shorting opportunity and I anticipate some downside for the next 2 weeks. I think we're going to see a very, very healthy retracement anyways. That's why I was saying that for Tesla. I think the algos are just like in line with one another, and I think that this could affect Tesla. For the QQQ, it's the same thing as SPY. It could push a little bit more. We could see 391, maybe even 393. What do I see from that? If it pushes a bit more, that's another shorting opportunity, not financial advice. If it does happen, if it fails to happen, whether it's 390 to 395, anywhere between that range is a nice shorting opportunity, because I see this thing coming back down to the daily 20 EMA at 380, if not to fill the gap at 378. So I see some downside coming, a very healthy retracement. I think that December 1st may be the time it starts. All right, so either we pop a little bit more than drop or just drop from here. I find that very, very probable, even for the QQQ. I also want to add that we had a head and shoulders like pattern on the QQQ. I don't know if it's going to play out like that or if we get one more pop and then drop. Either way, either a pop and then pullback is coming, or we just drop from here, from the current range. I'm still very convicted on that move. Nvidia is not looking the strongest. It could try to retest 483-ish. It could technically try to fill this imbalance, but the trend has been kind of weak. It's very weak right now, very choppy around these low levels. If this thing ends up losing over the next 2 weeks, this like 474 support, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing comes down towards like 468. And if it ends up just continuing to fall. But when you look at Nvidia on the 4-hour time frame, if we end up losing 468 to 470, the next support is going to be at the 200 EMA, very close to 461. So I think that that's going to be our next level if we end up breaking down. So watch it very carefully. I think that there's going to be some potential downside coming. So watch it very carefully. We'll see if that ends up being the case, and then do what you have to do. On top of that, I just want to call out that we have Aapl. That's going to be the last one I kind of like talk about when it comes to my main five. Aapl, in my opinion, is looking a little bit bearish overall, but it is possible it tries to pop a little bit more, as we could see these market makers trying to grab some liquidity alongside other institutions. I think either it pops a little bit and then drops, or just drops from here. Overall, I'm bearish. I'm still leaning bearish. So we have a bearish structure developing on Aapl. We had this previous resistance, which is going to act as kind of like a support, which I think we could still kind of like break and eventually downtrend towards. And I think that what's going to happen is either it pops a bit towards 191, which is where we had this resistance up here. We could kind of like pop first and then end up dropping back down, or we could just drop from here. If we lose 188, I'm going to turn a lot more bearish. I think that there's going to be some potential for downside coming to it. All right, guys. So once again, for Tesla, this all kind of like correlates with Tesla in a way where Tesla could push more, could pump approaching the Cybertruck event. But notice how the Cybertruck event is on the last day of November, and then the day after is going to be the first day of December, which is when the market might pivot. It aligns almost perfectly, meaning that Tesla may pop a bit more, push up higher, hold up very nicely, approaching the Cybertruck event. Then after the event, we might see Tesla come back down to earth. That's what this chart is suggesting to me. That's what these different technicals are suggesting throughout the market. And I think that the whole market could kind of move in unison when it comes to that. For the IWM, could push a little bit. I think it's very choppy, kind of like shopping between 177 to about one uh, just under 180. It's been like stuck between that range. Might just range trade for a bit, then eventually sell off a little bit to retest its 4-hour 200 EMA for a slight sell off over the next couple of weeks. And I think it's going to bounce to rally to end the year. For Microsoft, I think that this is continuing to develop a massive, massive bearish divergence. It's not even a quadruple. It's even more than four at this point. I would say that it could push a little bit more. We could see 385 or so. It could push up a little bit more. Then I anticipate there's going to be a very nice rejection starting as soon as December 1st. It's going to be making its way back down to the 370s, all the way down to 373 or below that. So look for either a pop and drop or a drop from here, depending on the data. So we'll be watching that very carefully. AMD is no different. I see the same thing basically forming. We have a triple bearish divergence that hasn't played out yet. Could become a quadruple if we get one more pop. We could push a little bit higher towards 125 plus, but then I think it's going to top and make its way back down towards 120. If that fails us, we're going to be well on our way down to 112. I think it's going to come all the way down there. Either it pops more and then drops, or it just drops from here over the next couple of trading days. I also want to call out that the VIX has a bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame, a double bullish divergence. And then on the daily time frame, you'll notice that we happen to have a very, very nice looking structure thus far. We're kind of curling on the daily as we're approaching this tight support, and we tend to bounce between 12 and 13. That's where we tend to bounce, and we tend to see some like nice price action. So I'm anticipating that this bullish divergence will eventually play out, and I think that what's going to happen is the VIX might drop a little bit more, then eventually break out towards 15, or it could just break out from here, suggesting that SPY is going to likely either get one more pump, it's going to be like a fake pump before we see the pullback, or it could pull back from where we currently are. Either way, guys, whether we get another pump in the market or not, I still think it's very probable, it's very possible we push a little higher, possibly thanks to Tesla with all this volatility. Tesla's just continuing to rip. It still is very possible, so you want to be watching these just to be safe. The SQQQ is also, in my opinion, going to see a nice balance. We have a nice like inverse head and shoulders like structure that's developing on the 4-hour time frame. It could drop one last time to establish this bullish divergence and then break out, or it could just break out from here. This imbalance will fill soon. I think this suggests that the market might get one more pump before the pullback, or it could just pull back from here. Either way, the pullback is coming. The dollar happens to have a triple bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. This tells me that within the next few days, probably starting December 1st, it's going to start pushing back up towards 104. I think that that's going to likely be the case. I just want to clarify that. Coinbase has tight resistance around 141, also at 130. If we break 130, we could get very close to like the mid 130 area, then 140. It could pop a little bit more than reject, or just reject from here. It's very overbought, so be very careful with Coinbase. We may not get the real pivot until December 1st, however, that's when the pullback may start. So be careful with that. Google, in my opinion, it could be forming a head and shoulders. We have like a left shoulder here, a head, and maybe a right shoulder forming. It could push a little bit more. We could be watching for another test of like almost 140. Maybe it goes a little bit higher. If it breaks above 140, we could see like 142, then a rejection, establishing a quadruple, maybe like a triple bearish divergence, maybe becoming a quadruple. So either we get like a little push up. It could push up towards 140, then reject and come back down towards 134 over the next couple of weeks, or it could push a little bit higher and break the high to 142 and then reject. Either it pumps and drops, or it just drops very close to where we are. That's what I find very probable. The 10-year Treasury yield has been dropping like crazy, but we're establishing a slight bullish divergence. Could drop a bit more than bounce, or just bounce from here. Once this thing bounces, this could slow the market down, maybe starting in December. On Amazon, Now, I'm seeing a possible head and shoulders on Amazon, but I don't fully trust this yet. I do want to call out that we have a quadruple bearish divergence developing on it, so it's going to likely sell off just like Microsoft over the next couple of weeks. It could break out towards 150 and then start selling off, or it could sell off from here off this head and shoulders. I don't fully trust it yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. But it is looking a bit more bearish in the after hours, so it does look kind of weak compared to the market. So I'm thinking either a little pop and drop or just drops from here. Amazon could just be getting ready for like 145 very soon as well. Now, finally, for Meta, I would say that Meta also happens to be having a head and shoulders like pattern that's developing. This is like a left shoulder here. This is like a head. And this is like a right shoulder. It could push a little bit higher towards 340 and then reject and come back down towards, I would say 330 going into the next couple of weeks. Or what could be happening is we have like a triple slash quadruple. This is more of a triple bearish divergence. It could push one more time, get one more nice push towards like 343 or even higher. Maybe it tries to push up very similar to Tesla for a little pop. And then it gets a big rejection up here, and that establishes the top. We have like three drives to the top up here, and then it just comes back down. So either it pushes a little bit more and then rejects, or just pushes a tiny bit and then rejects. That's what I see for Meta, and I still hold the same conviction. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. Tesla is still pushing as I speak. We're currently at just under 249. There is potential for this thing to go higher, but just know that Tesla, even if it pumps more approaching the Cybertruck event, do not become way too bullish. Be very careful after the event is over. And as of right now, when I'm speaking, Tesla is still pushing. Tesla is still pushing. It's still trying to go higher. So there's no sign of it breaking down. And I think that it just broke the high already while I was making this video. So we could see this thing continue to break out to 250. Don't forget, it could go up to 255 as the next level. Then we have 257, 260 all coming. There's more room for Tesla to run. It is not done whatsoever. So watch your levels very carefully, and then we'll see what happens after the Cybertruck event. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and peace out.